Hi, it's Luana again from Peak Elevations. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about the difference between a leader and a manager. And there's a huge difference. I'd never use those words interchangeably because I think there's such a huge difference between the two. And if you don't know, that's part of the problem, right? So a manager is someone that makes sure like all the rules are followed, the people showing up on time, and all of the organizational responsibilities are being met. And those are all exceptionally important. But you can also make sure all of those needs are being met while also being a really great leader. One of the best compliments that I've had throughout my career in the different organizations where I've been a leader is just that. I think the engagement that I create in my leadership style is exceptional. And I think that because employees feel valued, when employees feel valued, employees work harder, and you're paying folks, right? So you want the employee that wants to come to work and give 110% because they know that their leadership is invested in them. They're not going to give 110% for a manager, I guarantee you. You reduce your attrition. Right? If you're a good leader, people don't want to go find another job. They're happy where they are. They want to continue to thrive and grow and develop and stay with your organization. Attrition is very expensive. It's time consuming, it's disruptive. So having employees that are there for the long term is an important element in making sure that your business plan is operating successfully. I think leadership too is about understanding that you have human beings that are working for you. They're not Borgs, they're not robots. They're going to have problems. They're going to have sick kids. They're going to get sick themselves. They're going to have, exceptional life circumstances that are going to be impacted by how their employer responds to them. Being a leader is helping someone navigate through that, whether it's comfortably and kindly navigating through your FMLA rules, whether it's just being a confidant for someone to have that conversation with, because the job and where they stand is going to be an important element in how they manage to get through a really difficult personal experience. I think leadership is about positive coaching, right? I think that when you think of a manager, you sit them down and this is what you're doing wrong, and here's how you need to do better, and you're going to get fired, and you're on probation, and nobody is inspired or motivated by those types of conversations. What they are inspired and motivated by, I think, are conversations that acknowledge that a mistake was made, talk about ways that you can help that person navigate that situation so that that mistake's not made again. But I've told people in the past, my job isn't to tear you down because you've made a mistake, but it's to build you up. It's to make sure that you feel successful and empowered, to make sure that you're doing the right thing, whether that's an operational, a procedural, an ethical, any of those types of issues that might arise. I had an employee once tell me, this is the best I've ever felt getting in trouble. And that's what a leader does, right? You don't diminish somebody. You don't make them feel like failures. You want to make them feel empowered to continue to do a great job for your organization. I think that managers are unapproachable. It's hard to go to your manager and ask for something. It's hard to go to your manager and say I have a problem with something because there's that approachability factor. I think a leader encourages people to come and have honest conversations. And sometimes that's hard for the leader, by the way, right? It would be easy if everything just went smooth and seamless, but that's not how humans work, right? So as a leader, it's really important that you learn all of the skills that are necessary to have really meaningful, productive conversations with employees, particularly during difficult conversations. Again, that's another area that I've been really proud of that I have excelled in, because I make people feel like humans. I'm human with them. I'm not this standoffish person that doesn't empathize with the situation that they're in, but I also use my position to help navigate their situation so that it's successful for them, it's successful for my organization as well. So how do you become a good leader? Part of that is going to be your organization. Different organizations have different needs, but I do think that there are some pretty key elements that go with leadership that everybody needs to be mindful of. And sometimes that's an intentional practice. Sometimes it's not a natural characteristic that you have, particularly in a workplace, especially if you're used to doing something one way. I think humility is the best characteristic that you can have as you kind of navigate toward a path of new leadership, right? Because you're going to revert back to some of those management styles sometimes, and being able to say to your employee, you know what? let's have this conversation again. I really flubbed that one up. I could do it better. I think that's going to buy you so much forgiveness as you kind of navigate that, and authenticity. I think authenticity is exceptionally important as you start your path down leadership versus managerial roles. And I would love to get into more of these conversations with you and give you a lot of feedback on what that looks like. Feel free to reach out peakelevationsllc.com for more resources. Always welcome to email me or leave some comments below. I would love to also hear from you. I'd like to know great leaders that you've had. What characteristics stood out for you for a great leader? And how did that affect you as an employee? How did it make you work harder? How did it make you stay? Conversely, I'd like to know how those leaders that weren't so great, that the managers, right? Like, how did those affect your tenure? How did they affect your performance? How did they affect your engagement? All of those things are important as an employee, right? Even if we're leaders and managers, we're still almost always employees too. How did that affect you? I think having that information from a broad base of folks helps everybody realize the importance of the leader versus the manager. So thank you very much for your time. I look forward to talking to you again soon.